What else makes Johnny so appealing? As said before, Johnny is a laid-back person. He can be due to how confident and sure of himself he is. Since he's so laid back, he doesn't get angry easily. But nonetheless, he only gets annoyed when there is something genuinely worth being angry about. He doesn't start throwing tantrums, which is attractive. A key thing to note is Johnny does not have a big ego. He doesn't need to argue or assert his dominance over the other members. He also doesn't need to be the loudest in the room, and usually goes with the flow of the other members and what they want to do. Not having a big ego is probably due to Johnny being so comfortable in himself and who he is as a person. The lack of a big ego also makes Johnny a great conversationalist. By that I mean Johnny is able to talk, fill gaps but not overly fill them, and without leaving awkward silences. The best thing is his ego doesn't get in the way of listening to other people and what they have to say. Johnny gives his full undivided attention because he knows his time isn't worth more than someone else's. An example here is the JCC episode where Doyoung, Mark and Johnny stayed at his house in Chicago. The three were going to go out, and as they got in the car, Johnny suggested they get frozen yogurt. Mark told Johnny in a serious tone he couldn't have yogurt, probably due to an intolerance. Johnny tried to clarify it's not ice cream, and Mark said he still couldn't have it. And immediately Johnny respects it, drops the suggestion, and looks for an alternative. He didn't argue or dismiss Mark's condition, and instantly respected his friend's boundary. Because Mark is younger, Johnny could have made the situation more difficult, or forced Mark to come and get yogurt, but he didn't. He dropped it and went with another option. So although Johnny jokes around with or at Mark, at the end of the day he respects his friend's boundaries, and that shows a lack of ego in the healthiest of ways. It didn't make Johnny seem less of a man to listen to someone else. Furthermore, Johnny reacted to a compilation video of himself. There's an interview 127 did in America, and the interviewer says while he's taking their microphones, "Oh, by the way, your English is really good." And Johnny replies sarcastically, "Well, I'm from Chicago." And of course, Mark loses it. The interesting thing is Johnny, while rewatching this, apologized and took back what he said because he thought what he said was rude. You can argue it was ignorant of the interviewer to say that, but the fact that Johnny, after reflecting on it, immediately apologized for what he said, once again shows a lack of ego stopping him from owning up to a mistake and apologizing. He didn't like sounding or seeming rude and felt bad because of it, and I think that says a lot about his character. Another example is a fan in America got to hang out with NCT, specifically Taeyong, Doyoung and Johnny. In a particular clip, they were making pizza, I think. The fan is excited and a bit nervous. Taeyong and Doyoung are trying to talk to her, but of course English isn't their first language, so they're all a bit nervous, except Johnny, who is the gateway for communication. What he says to the fan is just wonderful. He says, "If you don't understand anything or you need anything translated, just tap me on the shoulder," which was the best thing to say in that moment to someone who was nervous. I would also like to point out that he didn't touch her. He told her to touch, i.e. tap him, if she needed help. Immediately he created a safe space for her after reading the room, letting her know that she could depend on him on her own terms to decide when she needed him. It shows not just a respect for women, but for people. The lack of ego means Johnny can step into someone else's shoes and understand where they're coming from, and empathize without them even telling him or asking him for help first. It reminds me of this moment with a little girl Johnny interacted with. The eye contact, the calm demeanor, the way he offers her some of his snack when she thinks he doesn't speak Korean and is nervous. Johnny has a fantastic way of melting the ice, of respecting and providing a safe space to anyone of any gender and age. His confidence to simply be himself helps create a safe space free of judgment, and that removes any anxiety someone may have.